Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to report to you today that we are back on top. We're back on top. We've had a couple of opals recently that haven't quite gone to plan. Admittedly, it's just luck of the draw. But today, I had great success.
Great success.
Now, for those of you that watched the recent unboxing of our most recent opal parcel, there was one that I said I distinctly remember. Oh, that's hiding something. I've cut opals from this field before, and I know from my experience, sometimes it can bubble underneath these matrix caps, but there is something hidden there, for sure. I'm a genius. I'm a secret genius. Not quite, but I'm close, maybe. I was roughing out some opal the other day. I wasn't filming it, I was just sort of knocking out some stones, and I thought I'd have a go at that one. And when grinding around the edge, it revealed a thin, it's thin, but it's there, a bright color bar. It's pretty spectacular, and I'm happy about it. And we, together, are going to polish it today. I do have a plan of action. So imagine here's our color bar, yeah? I'm gonna have to take the potch down, and then stop just before the end on like the 240 grit wheel, then move over to the 400 grit wheel to then bring it down that little bit more as we're revealing the pattern. So when we stop and inspect the opal after revealing the pattern, it's gonna have this like semi-polished, or for the Americans out there, semi-polished look to it. But I think it's the play, because with a color bar so thin, we need to make sure that the polish is ready to go on as soon as we possibly can. If there's a gem, of course. I'm talking very positively, and I do have high hopes, but we do have a new game to play. I am gonna do a new skit, a new bit, a pattern prediction. Basically, I'm just gonna guess what the pattern is. I don't know why, but I thought I'd throw it in there. Play along at home if you want to. Have a guess as to what the pattern is. I'll give you some hints. You can see in the top left corner there's like some blotchy bits. A couple of these other stones have had like fractions of Chinese writing in there. So I'm gonna predict the pattern, because why not? I can. I probably won't, but I can, and I will. Sound fair enough?
Sound fair enough?
Let's predict the pattern, and then let's get to cutting. Right, so here we are for the pattern prediction segment. We've got our opal here in the rough, with that beautiful electric green bar, and a bit like that. That's our rough shape. Okay, we know we've got a couple of little squiggles going in the top there, and a nice flash coming down a little bit. My prediction is we're gonna get some script pattern type looking thing up here. I reckon this turns into one big ribbon that comes down here, and we've got a broad flash that covers the top. That is my predictions, and may it be true. So here we are now at the cutting wheels. I'm not going to show you too much of the 240 grit wheel, because as I said before, we're not going to grind all the way through to the color on this one, so there's not much to see. But we're building up in anticipation for that totally pointless segment of the pattern prediction, which I can only apologize for in advance. When I'm editing this now, I have no idea why I did that, but hey, we're now on the 400 grit wheel. This is where we're now going to slowly reveal the pattern of the opal. The reason we're on the 400 grit wheel is because it leaves much finer scratches in the face of the opal, so when we do start breaking through to that color, there isn't as much of a task to overcome to give this opal a nice polish. I'm starting to get a little bit confused, because as electric as that green on the right hand side is, not much colour is starting to peek through, and it's not boding well for how I think this opal is going to turn out. There is this slight concave on the back of the opal that you can see there briefly, so I just went back to the 240 grit and cut that straight out. As you can see, some of that colour is starting to peek through. Now let's get a closer look. Alright, so we're back at the viewing station, and here's the opal so far. As you can see, it's got that semi-polish on there. Semi-polished. I think it's safe to say this pattern prediction, that was a completely pointless task. I got it incredibly wrong. But we have these like patches, light patches. I don't know if they come up from the bottom of the opal. I don't believe they do. I just need to be a bit more patient and they should hopefully come out. So I imagine if I do want like a perfect gem, a perfect black opal, I'm going to have to chop that little bit off and then hunt for a shape somewhere in what remains. It seems to be quite a directional stone. I do have my suspicions as to it probably would have faced better from this side, but I didn't have a choice. Obviously it had already been rubbed on this side of the opal, so I'm maximising carat yield here rather than a tiny little pointer that I may have got that may have been brighter. Obviously we don't know. So it's back to the wheels, time to be a bit more patient. I'll probably just do this bit on my own without filming it, and then we'll come back and evaluate before dopping. Okay, so we're back. We've taken a bit more potch out the face, but unfortunately the rest comes up from underneath. That grey spot should come out, but those black web marks are just going to have to stay in there. They somewhat add to the character. It's going to be a picture stone somewhat, but we've obviously now got this free form and we can easily find a nice sized oval in there, so that's the plan. It's getting thin, but we have a little bit of meat to play with. Once I bring it in for that oval, we should hopefully have a low dome that's got a decent setting edge. The colour's not terrible. It's not great, not terrible.
Not great, not terrible.
It could have been worse.
It's okay to be disappointed with how an opal turns out. It's a very normal reaction, but we've got to remember with this opal, we weren't even guaranteed a stone. I wasn't even 100% certain I was going to get anything from it. So every little bit of colour this stone has is just a complete bonus. And that's all I'm remembering. I'm not disappointed. Sure, it'd be nicer if this stone turned out way better, but the fact I'm getting anything is just a win in my books. We're now going to dop up the stone. This is obviously very important. A for control and B for your final polish. Heat up the wax, heat up the stone and stick them together. Nice and simple. It does take practice. Now we're going over to the 400 grit wheel where we refine the shape, start to give it that setting edge and a nice dome. I love to cut opals. It's one of the few moments in my week I can genuinely look forward to. It's the peaceful serenity of being at the wheels, knowing you're cutting something someone will cherish for generations, their families can all enjoy. And I don't think many other hobbies can give you that unless you're in a creative space where you're making something for someone and you know that it's going to outlive you forever. You're long after you're gone, those opals will continue to shine. And when you get into that headspace to cut opal, it gives you this really rewarding feeling. And then when you couple that with a piece of opal, especially some gamble rough that you didn't know was going to cut a stone, those emotions really elevate. In the background here, you've seen me do the 600 grit wheel. I stopped to check the shape, make sure it was perfect, and then over to the 1200 grit wheel to begin that pre-polish. I do go on to the 3000 grit wheel on the right, that yellow wheel, but I don't show you this step. Now, it's for the cerium oxide. Coat that wheel, get it soaking, and then polish your opal. And here we are with our final stone, a superbly black opal. It's got a very characteristic and interesting colour play. It's almost like the blues and greens are swimming through the stone from left to right. At face value, there isn't a huge amount of colour play going on. It is a little bit directional, I will admit. But again, this opal is a win. It came from something we weren't even sure was going to give us anything. It's got a little bit of ribbon, like a little bits of straw, but not enough to say there is a straw pattern on there. It's mostly sort of a flagstone effect that's going on. A little bit of broad flash when it's tilted to the right angles. This stone does weigh under a carat. It does have a low dome, but it's a beautifully shaped oval with a really nice polish on there, with some electric blue and green play of colour. I think it's a really cute stone. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed, please like the video, and of course you can subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.